What's going on, everybody? My mic was muted beforehand, but we are officially live right here, right now, as the Philadelphia Eagles have initialized their 53-man roster at the moment. It is not made officially. The Eagles can still find ways to make moves, but this is what they currently have because Howie Roseman was busy today. I repeat, busy today. He had to do so much work today to try to cut this roster down to 53 players because he had to cut like 21 or 22 players today in order to make this happen. And I have the initial 53-man roster written down as notes just to talk to you guys about what it looks like for now until if we decide to get any guys off waivers or if we want to go ahead and get rid of some of these players or in case if we need to do any adjustments like that. But what is going on, everybody? Let's hit 200 tonight. You already know, my guy. You already know. Guys, let's hit 200 sometime soon, please. I'm not sure if it's going to happen tonight, but if it can, that'd be sweet, man. That'd be sweet. Max Russell, what's going on? Lucas Holland said, let's go. Should have kept Hightower. Yeah, we definitely should have kept either John Hightower or J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, but at the end of the day, it's not the end of the world. I mean, they could clear waivers, and then they could come back to our practice squad. So at the end of the day, it's not the end of the world, but it is a shame that we would have gave them up. So it's a bummer, but it is what it is. So we'll see how waivers turn out. Mitch Kofsky in the building. What's going on, Mitch? If you guys have not done yet, go subscribe to Mitch Kofsky. He's putting out fire content, all Philly teams. I think he does the Eagles and the Sixers, if I'm not mistaken, and he does some other videos too. So definitely go subscribe to Mitch Kofsky. Lucas Holland wanted to say what's up. All right, man. I'm going to go through – basically this is how it's going to work. I'm going to go through each position, give my thoughts on how they look and what could have been better. But let's just jump right into this. So, Eagles' initial 53-man roster. Quarterbacks. Jalen Hurts. By the way, Jalen Hurts officially got named the starter today. So, by week 1, which is in a little bit, not that long until the season starts, Jalen Hurts will be starting at quarterback. And let's just see if we can make it happen, baby. Mitch said, gonna have DJ Eastwood on my channel at 8 p.m. Eastern. It's all right, Mitch. If you have to leave, that's fine, my guy. We'll try to roll through these as fast as we can because I do want to get you on, get your thoughts on it before you go live with DJ Eastwood. So I kind of want to have to explain. I kind of want to explain everything and give my thoughts on it, but I'm just going to try to roll through this as fast as I can so I can put you on the call-in, and then we can go through the roster together. All right, Jalen Hurts. He did get named the starter today. As you guys might not or may already know, Hurts got named the starter today at quarterback position. So right now, Hurts is going to be the starter. I'm assuming that it's going to be Joe Flacco as the second string because he has been there when Nick Mullins was in Philadelphia, which he did get released. And then we went ahead and got Gardner Minshew, and I feel like he's going to be the third string quarterback because he did not go with us to training camp. He didn't practice with us when we had training camp, so he still is going to have to learn from Jalen Hurts, Joe Flacco, the quarterback coach. But I like what I'm seeing out of our three quarterbacks. I think Minshew might be more talented, though. He might, but because of veteran talent and since Minshew just got with us, I think Flacco has to be the second string because Minshew has to get used to our system yet, Lucas. All right, running backs. Here we go. Miles Sanders. Obviously, he's going to be running back 1. There's no question about it. Kenny Gainwell is going to be another back. So apparently we kept 3 running backs on the roster. I would have liked 4, but we got rid of 3 of the backs I would have liked to be on the 53-man roster. And then we took Boston Scott. There's no question that Boston Scott's going to be on the 53-man roster just because he's been that guy to be on the roster for many years. And it's pretty good right now. It's pretty good right now, but I would have liked to have 4 backs. I was looking for either Holyfield, Huntley, or Jordan Howard to be on the 53-man roster, but it turns out that we kept 3 running backs. I feel like it's not going to be enough, so I feel like we might go ahead and get a 4th running back off waivers, whether if it's an Elijah Holyfield, a Jason Huntley, a Jordan Howard, one of those 3 backs. I feel like if they do not get claimed by any other team, we will take one of those and put them on our 53-man roster. But 3 backs is okay to start, but I feel like we need to add 1 more back because Jason Huntley is really good for blocking. Elijah Holyfield looked really good in the season, and I feel like Jordan Howard can break out. So I just feel like we need to have 4 backs on the roster, and one of those 3, I guarantee you, will be making it. Lucas Holman said true about what I said earlier. Big Play Slay, what's going on, man? If you guys have not done so, go ahead and subscribe to Big Play Slay. I believe he's on the road to 700, if I'm not mistaken. Help him get there, man. Let's go, man. Fly, Eagles, fly. Going to any games this year? Yes. The game that I'm going to this year, it's going to be a tough one, man. But as some people would say, any given Sunday, I'm going to the Chiefs game week 5 on the first Sunday in October. So that's going to be a tough game. But, folks, I want you to keep this in mind. When I go to the Eagles games with family members and friends, I am 4-0 when I go to the Eagles games. So any given Sunday, but I feel like if the Eagles have any chance, Hurts would have to play a phenomenal game, might have to have a Patrick Mahomes type of performance, and the Chiefs would have to be, I'm trying not to be toxic here, but the Chiefs would have to be really injured for the Eagles to even have a chance at beating the Chiefs. I feel like we're going to take the first loss. I'm going to take the first loss, go 4-1, and it's gonna be rough, man. It's gonna be rough, but we'll see. Any given Sunday, but I think we have a better chance at being Tampa Bay just because it's Tom Brady, and Tom Brady is terrible on short weeks. But I feel like the Bucs are still gonna squeak that out. I'm gonna do a schedule prediction video sometime later, maybe closer to when the season starts. But anyway, let's get back into this. But first off, Sonic 2.25, what's going on? You're going to see Foothills at the game. He is going to that game. Yeah, I know, Mitch. I know Foothills is going to be at that game. All right, so now we go to the wide receivers. So we ended up keeping 5 wide receivers. I'm okay with 5. The first 4 that are on my list and on the 53-man roster right now were 4 of the 5 guys I wanted. The 5th one was not the one I wanted. So, wide receivers, Jalen Reagor, Devontae Smith, and Quez Watkins are going to be locks because they are already considered the starters, so you can't really do anything with them. And then you have Greg Ward, which was another one that I liked to be on the 53-man roster. Now, the one I didn't like at the end of the day was J.J. Arcega-Whiteside making this. I wanted Travis Fulgham to be on the 53-man roster because here's the thing. If Travis Fulgham can give us a performance like he did against the Steelers last year every single week, then he should be on this 53-man roster, and I don't know why he got waived for J.J. Arcega-Whiteside. It was probably because J. Jaw had that big catch against the Jets that went all the way for a touchdown, like 41 yards, and that's probably what made J. Jaw get on there. But I hope and pray that before the season starts, we get J. Jaw out of the roster and we put in Travis Fulgham, because I think Travis Fulgham, even though he did struggle in camp and was really quiet, I really do think that he can do some big things this year. Will you be vlogging the game? I believe you are allowed to vlog. I mean, I've seen other YouTubers do it, so I believe you are allowed to vlog the game. I'll see what we can do here. Hopefully I do see Foothills at that game, though, Mitch. Hopefully I do see Foothills at that game. It would be real nice to meet him in person. It'll be a tough game, but like I said before, any given Sunday. So they just did the arm gun with the eagle on it. Yeah, fly Eagles fly, Slay, fly Eagles fly, man. Yeah, I just don't like J-Jaw on this 53-man roster. Everyone's like so fallen in love with J-Jaw lately. So J. Joel better be off this roster at least before week 1, which is what I am hoping and expecting. Next up, we go to the tight ends. So the tight ends, Ertz did not get released, so what does this mean? So the tight ends right now are Zach Ertz, Dallas Goedert, and Jack Stoll. That's right, we did, for some reason, release Richard Rodgers, and Jack Stoll did end up making the 53-man roster. And because of Tyree Jackson being on IR, this basically means that it just made it more likely now that Zach Ertz is going to be on the 53-man roster, because there is literally no chance that you have, obviously, Goddard as your starter, you bring back Richard Rodgers, and then you have your third-string tight end being Jack Stoll. There's just no chance, and you do need that veteran talent. And even though Goddard is a young tight end, we could see big things from Ertz this year, despite the fact that he wasn't cut. So, depends how well we will do, and we'll see what happens with Zach Ertz. Hopefully, he will have a breakout year this year, because if he doesn't not have a breakout year this year, we will have to get rid of him, because we gave him all the chances he needed, and he was just not successful in the past few. Well, last year he wasn't really successful, but the past few years he was successful in 2017 when he was one of the best tight ends in the game, 2018, and then 2019, and then 2020 he just started to fall down. All right, now our offensive linemen. Jordan Mailata, yes, if you guys did not know, Jordan Mailata also got named starting left tackle over Andre Dillard. It's finally been decided, and thank God, because I wanted Jordan Mailata to be the starting left tackle forever, literally since training camp started, and mainly just since it was the battle between Dillard and Mailata in the beginning. Seumalo, that's not a surprise at all. Seumalo, great left guard, man. And he just knows how to play that left guard spot. Jason Kelce will be the center for this year. Next year might be a younger center like Landon Dickerson, which we will get into. Brandon Brooks, no question about it. One of, if not the best right guard in the National Football League. And then Lane Johnson, another one of, if not the best right tackle in the National Football League. And those two are key players, and they have got to stay healthy this year. Lane Johnson was healthy for the whole training camp, and Brandon Brooks came back strong. So we're hoping to see these guys stay healthy for this season. Then to the backups, obviously for left tackle, as a backup, you're going to have Andre Dillard. I mean, Dillard, even though he struggled in training camp, he's the best left tackle available right now. So I'm not even surprised with this one on Andre Dillard to be the backup to Jordan Mailata, since he was in that battle to try to make that 53-man roster, but he will be a backup to Jordan Mailata at the end of the day. Then you have Nate Herbig, who can pretty much play both of the guard spots, but just because Jack Driscoll also made the roster and he can play some guard, I've only seen him play right guard. I haven't seen him play left guard yet. I have Nate Herbig taking the backup left guard spot. And then I have Landon Dickerson, who can play every single position on the O-line, but I have him playing center just because Jack Driscoll and Brett Toth, who I do have on the 53-man roster and who was activated to the 53-man roster and is on there right now, is, even though Landon Dickerson can play all the spots on the O-line, it's just that Landon Dickerson, I feel like he'll be playing center next year for the Philadelphia Eagles, because after this year, Jason Kelce will be going into retirement. So I feel like Dickerson's going to be playing center next year. And then Jack Driscoll, you're probably going to have as a backup right guard. And he's a pretty young guy. He got injured last year, and I think he was out for the year, if not out for multiple weeks. But Jack Driscoll hoping for a bounce back year this year if he does get some playing time, which I think he will. And then finally, you have Brett Toth as your backup right tackle. I didn't expect Brett Toth to be the right tackle guy, but at the end of the day, Brett Toth, I really think he can be a pretty good guard/tackle, depending where you position him on the O-line between him and Jack Driscoll. But they've been saying that Brett Toth has been doing pretty good, so I will go ahead and believe in that. And now we go ahead and get into the defensive ends. Defensive ends, Derek Barnett and Brandon Graham. There's no question on who are your starting defensive ends. And then you go with Josh Sweat and Ryan Kerrigan to be your backup defensive ends, which they will be strong this year. I guarantee it. And then Josh Sweat is just going to get even better because you have a veteran guy playing for your team now in a guy like a Ryan Kerrigan. And you also have Brandon Graham, who is also up there in age, might honestly retire after this year. And then you have Taron Jackson, however you pronounce his name. But at the end of the day, I don't think we needed that fifth defensive end. But at the end of the day, it's a pretty good move just to add some young talent to see what this young guy can do. And on to the defensive tackles. Fletcher Cox and Javon Hargrave are no question to be your starters. And then backing them up is Milton Williams. Milton Williams was a beast in the preseason, and I'm expecting big things from him this year. And then Marlon Tuapolatu. I'm probably pronouncing his name wrong. Don't come at me if I'm getting that wrong here. But because the reason why Marlon Tuapolatu is on the 53-man roster is because T.Y. McGill was actually on the COVID list, so he'll probably be out for about 10 days or 2 weeks, however long it is. I think it's 10 days. But Marlon Tuapolatu currently on the 53-man roster for now, but T.Y. McGill will probably get back on there once he gets off the COVID list. And we move to the linebackers. Eric Wilson, Alex Singleton, TJ Edwards, pretty much no question with those three. And then you have Genard Avery, who moved back from defensive end to linebacker a while ago, and that was actually his original position the whole time. And then you have Sean Bradley and Davion Taylor, who hardly got any playing time last year. So this is going to be their chance this year to try to prove all the doubters wrong and to actually show what they can do on the field. And then you have Patrick Johnson, our, I believe, 7th-round rookie. And I'm not expecting big things from Patrick Johnson, but hopefully, who knows? I might be wrong. I might be right. I might be wrong. We might see big things from Patrick Johnson. We might not. So we'll have to see what happens with Patrick Johnson. But I think those other guys I mentioned, Eric Wilson, Singleton, Edwards, Avery, Bradley, and Taylor, will get the most playing time. But the starting three linebackers are still questionable. I think Genard Avery does have a big chance this year to start, but I have the starting three linebackers as Eric Wilson, Alex Singleton, and TJ Edwards because those three looked the best last year, and I'm hoping big things from them this year. Our cornerbacks now. Darius Slay and Steve Nelson are going to be the ones starting. Obviously, there's no question on who would start over them. And then Josiah Scott and Zach McPherson. Even though McPherson did get cooked in the preseason, we probably will not see a lot of playing time unless if either Slay or Steve Nelson will get injured. But at the end of the day, I don't expect too much from Zach McPherson unless if any of our starting quarterbacks go down and have to be out for a while, and then Zach would have to come in. And then Josiah Scott, got him from the Jags. He isn't a bad piece. He didn't look too bad in the preseason, so hopefully we're going to see big things from him this season. And then for your slot, you'd have a guy like a Nevontae Maddox play there. And at the end of the day, I feel like Maddox can definitely play the slot. So Maddox should be able to play the slot very well. So we're going to move on to the safeties now. We kept 4 safeties today. Anthony Harrison, Rodney McLeod, obviously going to be your starters. There's no question who's starting. Rodney McLeod also came off the PUP list as well as Lynn Dickerson off the NFI list. But that is huge right there for Rodney McLeod and Lynn Dickerson to come off those lists and to be on this 53-man roster. And then Marcus Epps, who has definitely been improving on his game every single year. And I'm expecting hopefully some big playing time for Marcus Epps if any of our starting safeties go down. And then Kavon Wallace. Wallace, we didn't see big things from him last year, but there have been reports saying that Kavon Wallace is going to be huge this year. So hopefully that's true, and hopefully we see some big things from Kavon Wallace. And on special teams, we get Jake Elliott, Aaron Sipas, and Rick Lovato to to be the three guys. There's literally no question because there's no one to technically start over them. So that is all the positions. Now, earlier today, there was a trade today. So the Philadelphia Eagles went ahead and traded Matt Pryor and a 7th-round pick for a 6th-round pick from the Colts that we basically got from the Jags. So we basically got our 6th-round pick back. But mainly all this was just to get rid of Matt Pryor just because he was terrible in the preseason and he ended up not having a great career with the Eagles. And then all the released players that all made this happen by Howie Roseman: Andrew Adams, LaRaven Clark, Jordan Howard, Hassan Ridgeway, Richard Rodgers, and Kayvon Seymour. And a few of these are question marks to me. Like, I don't know why we would get rid of Andrew Adams. He came from the Bucs and he plays some pretty decent coverage. LaRaven Clark looked pretty good in that Jets game, and he was bulldozing people over. He protected Joe Flacco pretty well when he came on. Jordan Howard, we should have kept him or Holyfield or Huntley, like I mentioned earlier. Hassan Ridgeway, I felt like he would have been cut anyway. Richard Rodgers, he should have been our 3rd-string tight end over Jack Stoll, but we'll see some snaps from Jack Stoll this year. And then Kayvon Seymour, we didn't really expect too much from him. So now we go on to the waived people. Waived today was Grayland Arnold. I'm probably going to pronounce this wrong, but Coyote Awosika. Travis Fulgham, which I don't know why we did that. That was stupid, but if he does clear waivers, he comes back to our practice squad, so he will then play for us if nobody takes him off waivers. John Hightower, like Lucas said, we should have kept John Hightower, but I would have wanted Fulgham on this roster more than J-Jaw and Hightower. So at the end of the day, I would have wanted Fulgham, but Hightower would have been nice as well. Basically, just anyone over J-Jaw, because J-Jaw stinks. Next, Jason Huntley. I wanted Huntley on this roster to be our 4th-string back because he can block very well when you're on like a wide receiver screen and you need blocks out in front, or whenever you try to give it to the running back and then you need a dual threat out there and you need Jason Huntley to go out there and try to block for someone, or when Jalen Hurts or any of these quarterbacks are scrambling, you're going to need a big blocker, and that's what Jason Huntley is. Michael Jacquet, there was no question he was going to be waived earlier today, but besides, he was getting cooked in the preseason every which way, so it really didn't matter what was going to happen with Michael Jacquet. Craig James, I would have wanted Craig James to at least play on special teams because, in my opinion, Craig James does play very well at that position. So hopefully we'll see if Craig James comes back or if he stays released, but I think he's going to stay released. Matt Leo, we really don't see much from him. Do we really have to discuss that one? Sua Opeta, I thought he did really well in the Jets game in blocking for Joe Flacco and Nick Mullins. So at the end of the day, I really just thought that those guys, that Sua Opeta did pretty well, but because we have better blockers out on the field, like a Landon Dickerson, a Jack Stoll, a Nate Herbig, then Sua Opeta was not able to make the roster. Andre Patton, there's no question on that one. Who knows if he'll be moved to the practice squad or not. Ross Pierschbacher, he was not a surprise either, because at the end of the day, Ross Pierschbacher, he wasn't the best center in the world, but we get a younger one and a great one in Landon Dickerson, probably one of the best centers or one of the best offensive linemen coming out of college right now. Next one, Elijah Riley. There's no surprise there. Elijah Riley really was also getting cooked in the preseason, so he's out of here. Now, this one was a surprise to me. Jacoby Stevens. I really thought Jacoby Stevens was going to make this roster. I thought he was going to make the roster, but apparently it turns out he did not, and they went with Patrick Johnson instead. So, at the end of the day, Patrick Johnson made the roster. Jacoby Stevens did not, so it is what it is sometimes. Raekwon Williams, again, no surprise there. It's just that he is a young defensive lineman rather, that still has to kind of like learn the game. And on IR today, Blake Countess, not a huge player, but at the end of the day, it is what it is if you need backup safety help, and Blake Countess would be your guy. And on the COVID list was T.Y. McGill. And that's pretty much it, man. I'm going to go ahead and drop the link. Y'all come in. Give me your thoughts on the roster. Do you think it was a good lineup? Do you think there would have been there could have been changes made? Give me your thoughts on that. I'm going to drop the link, and feel free to call in, everybody. All right, man. The StreamYard link has been pinned in the chat. So go ahead, call in, give me your thoughts on what you think about the 53-man roster. And just come on in and give me your thoughts, man. Tell me what you think on each position. Well, no one has called in yet. I want to tell you guys this piece of news as well. This is going to be off topic from the Eagles, but it's going to be still about Philly sports. So it turns out that Ben Simmons, if you saw my YouTube short from earlier that I made about, I want to say like an hour and a half ago, Ben Simmons apparently turns out that he does not want to return to the Philadelphia 76ers. And that is huge because Ben Simmons wants to go to one of the 4 California teams, either in the Golden State Warriors, LA Clippers, LA Lakers, or the hang on, guys, I forget the 4th team. Hang on one second. So anyway, man, the 4 California teams are the Sacramento Kings, LA Clippers, LA Lakers, and the Golden State Warriors. The one I think Ben Simmons is most unlikely to go to is the LA Lakers because, in my opinion, they have too much talent on their squad, and I really do think that they can handle it on their own, and they don't need another big man like a Ben Simmons. I mean, they already have LeBron, AD, Russell Westbrook, Rajon Rondo, Marc Gasol. They have the talent that they need, so I feel like that is the least likely team to go out and get Ben Simmons. The Clippers, Ben might want to go there. I believe Ben's mansion is in Los Angeles, so he does want to, in my opinion, go somewhere that is close to home. But the Sixers want a pure point guard in return. And who is the point guard for the LA Clippers? I'm not sure if it is Kawhi. I think Kawhi is the shooting guard. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, it was Reggie Jackson who actually did re-sign with the Clippers. So I feel like Ben Simmons is not going to go to the Clippers either. The Kings, I feel like the Kings are the team that's going to have the most interest in Ben Simmons because they could play Ben Simmons at center. They could do so much with Ben, And I feel like we could get a guy like a Tyrese Halliburton in return because De'Aaron Fox already doesn't have interest. And at the end of the day, I feel like the Sacramento Kings have the most interest. And then the Golden State Warriors. Do we really need to trade Ben Simmons for Andrew Wiggins and James Wiseman? I don't think we could do that. I feel like our only hope to get a pure point guard is the fact that Ben Simmons has got to be with the Sacramento Kings, because I feel like the Sacramento Kings have the talent that they need, and I feel like they have the talent that they're looking for, and I feel like the Sixers can go ahead and strike on them and try to get either Buddy Hield to try to strike back on what happened last year in not getting Buddy Hield in place of Ben Simmons or as a backup, or like a guy like a Tyrese Halliburton who did really good last year and almost won Rookie of the Year. So I really think Ben Simmons gets traded to one of those 4 California teams, but I think the most likely one is going to be the Sacramento Kings. Smokeless, what's going on? Feel free to call on the show, my guy. I want your thoughts on the Eagles roster, man. I want your thoughts on the Eagles roster. We got Mitch Kopsky in here. What's going on, Mitch?
Yo, you know how to pop on, man. You know I got to support my guy. You know how it is.
Sir. Yes, sir,
so,
Mitch.
I can only be on for like 5 minutes, so.
That's fine, Mitch. That's fine. I just want your instant thoughts on how you feel about this Eagles roster real quick.
All right. So, Jordan Howard, I was shocked. I was beyond shocked. I mean, he's the best running back we got, and he's the best blocking running back we've got. So, I'm like, who's going to block now? Who's going to block? Sanders? No. Gainwell?
No, Sanders is going to be our starter.
What? No. I'm just saying. Like
who's supposed to block?
I don't know. And apparently Stahl is going to be the blocking running back now.
So Jack Stoll's a tight end.
Yeah, he's a tight end. Yeah. So
yeah, the reason why Jack Stoll is on here is because we, for some reason, released Richard Rodgers. I don't know why we would do that. And then Tyree Jackson, you have him on IR. So we went ahead and went with Jack Stoll as the third string, and Ertz is still here. And with Tyree Jackson on IR anyway, it just made it more likely now that Ertz is going to be on here for week 1. So, because otherwise we would be going into this season with 2 tight ends if Ertz was out of here. Because since we released Richard Rodgers and then Tyree Jackson's on IR, we would only be sticking with 2 tight ends. So we had to probably keep Ertz.
Yeah. Think about it. With this whole Zach Ertz thing, it looks like he's here to stay. So I'm still like, ugh, I want him gone, man. You know what I've been saying. I would trade him for V-Bucks. I would trade him for iced teas. I'm like, I didn't want that negativity.
I trade him for a bag of potato chips.
Exactly. And I'm just like, it is what it is. He's gone. I mean, he's there. So
exactly.
And I want to bring up Travis Fulgham real quick, because that dude has so much potential. He has so much potential.
Like, if he can give us,
go.
If he can give us a year like he did with the performance against the Steelers last year in Week 5, he has so much potential to make this 53-man roster. And I don't know why we would get rid of Fulgham anyways, because I feel like out of all the receivers that got either released or waived, I felt like Fulgham was the best option. I mean, Hightower could have been there, but he had a bad camp, in my opinion.
Well, John Hightower lost some passion for the game. So I'm like,
that's true.
Good for him, but football's not for him. But he's still better than Whiteside by far.
That's right. Anyone on this roster is better than J.J. Arcega-Whiteside. It's like this whole Eagles organization is literally in love with J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, and there is just no reason.
No, it's actually this. I saw on Twitter, John Clark tweeted this out. I'm going to bring this up later. John Clark had Whiteside there because he can separate. I'm like,
what?
He can
That is
separate.
dumb. That is stupid.
You're telling me, and I'm just like, uh, okay. It is what it is.
Spacing?
Spacing, yeah. I'm gonna look at it again just to be sure.
Spacing? Like, really? That's the only reason J. John makes the roster is because of spacing?
I'm gonna look.
Like,
Um,
what is
yeah. Oh, a separator. Nick says special
that?
teams is a big part that can be the separator. So he's gonna be used for special teams, and he's gonna be the separator. I'm like,
Like, what? What in the world?
I don't know, man.
J. John on this roster just makes absolutely no sense. I
It
thought we were
does,
done
man.
with
It
J.
does.
I thought we were done with J. Jaw. I thought we gave up on this man, but for some
We
reason,
can still
J.
trade
Jaw
him.
finds a way to make the roster. For the love of God, God literally said, "J. Jaw, you're gonna make the roster." And then Howie Roseman says, "You know what? I'm gonna put J. Jaw on the roster. Why not? Let's just go ahead and get screwed."
It's a Howie move. It's a Howie
I'm
move.
telling you,
I don't
this
think
guy
Nick
has to
Sirianni.
go, man. The
I don't
draft
think
was
Nick's.
the draft and getting a guy like Eric Wilson, Steve Nelson, and making some more of these big moves. That was his biggest part of the offseason. I mean, J.J. Arcega-Whiteside was probably one of the worst in this offseason. So
Yo,
Howie
what's up,
started
Ninings, my guy?
exactly. He started out good, and then it just blew away.
Yo, have a good stream, man. I gotta pop off. You and I would definitely do something. We'll talk.
Yeah, we definitely got to collab soon, my guy.
Yeah.
Peace.
Hit me up next week. I'm down.
Yeah, hopefully.
Peace.
All right, man. We had our first caller, Michkovsky. We have Nightings in the chat. What's going on, Nightings? I'm debating on if I should make a video on the depth chart. For now, I'll stick around here. That's fine, Nightings. That's fine. For anyone who wants to come on and call in, man. Give me your thoughts. Sonic, what's going on?
Yo. What's up?
What's good, my guy? Give me your thoughts on the Eagles' current 53-man roster right now.
Yeah, I mean, it looks good. I mean, I still think we could have kept Jordan Howard.
Yeah, Jordan Howard would have been nice on the roster. And currently, right now, I feel like we're not going to keep like 3 running backs. I really think we should be keeping 4. And I feel like it's between Holyfield, Huntley, and Jordan Howard to be that 4th running back. I mean, we can't go into this season with just 3 running backs on this roster. I mean, we have to have at least 4 because having 3 running backs on this roster, and besides, if you need a rushing blocker, if you need a running back that needs to block, one of those 3 guys has to do it.
Exactly. There is no way Boston Scott or Kenny Gainwell or Miles
Exactly.
Sanders can block.
Boston Scott
And
is so
besides,
small. How is he supposed to
besides-
block? And Kenny Gainwell's a rookie. How is he supposed to block?
And besides, we need a guy to take pressure off of Miles Sanders. That's why I think keeping Jordan Howard will be a good idea because he can
We
take
should have
pressure
kept
off of
Jordan
him.
Howard. We definitely should have kept Jordan Howard. I feel like Jordan Howard was the best one of these 3 guys to really have. But
Seriously, he can block.
Anything can happen. Anything can happen. We could put a 4th guy on the roster. This is just the current 53-man roster right now. So changes could be made, and we could just move guys around. But we just can't go into this season with just 3 running backs. It just doesn't make sense.
I mean, they might bring him back. They might bring him back.
Yeah,
for
that's
like
true.
Before week
They
1.
they honestly might bring him back just because we just need 4 backs on this roster. I can't go into the season having 3 running backs on our team right now. I just can't see that.
Yeah, there's no way that these 3 running backs are going to block for Jalen Hurts because if there's like another defender going across from him, you're going to need that someone who can block for him just to give Hurts some time to throw to the wide receiver or tight end because
Right.
And like I said before, you need that bruiser back, the guy who can give you more yards by taking more tackles and you get pressure off your elusive running back. Because we all know Miles Sanders is basically the little Sean McCoy of our team.
Right. Sanders has to have a breakout year this year. He has to crack 1,000 yards. He just has to, in my opinion.
I mean, my thing for them cutting Travis Fulgham is, I mean, yeah, I understand he didn't play. Yeah, he didn't play like well in the training camp. I know he fumbled the ball, but
Yeah,
He
he's
played
been real
really
quiet
good.
in training camp lately.
Yeah, but
I
feel
mean,
like he's
I also understand that we haven't heard much on Fulgham, but just because Travis Fulgham isn't doing good in training camp doesn't mean that Travis Fulgham can't break out in the regular season. He had showed us last year against the Steelers in Week 5 that he can be that wide receiver to come off the bench and just be your fourth or fifth, depending where you want to put Greg Ward, who will be probably our first wide receiver off the bench. And if Travis Fulgham can give us a performance like he did against the Steelers in Week 5 every single week, then bring Fulgham back if no one takes him off on waivers right now.
yeah. I think this, and they're putting JJ Whiteside in, and I'm like, why? I mean,
It's like,
yeah, I understand he hasn't. I understand he hasn't
I mean,
proved that much, but
it was similar to what Mitch said. I mean, according to John Clark, like Mitch said, the only reason why JJ's on this roster is because of separation, spacing. Like, what in the world are we thinking?
separation. Come on, Fulgham can give you that. Greg Ward can probably give you that. Seriously, our wide receivers can give you
J-Jaw's
that.
a joke. Dude, J-Jaw's a joke, man. I literally thought this was the year that J-Jaw was not going to make this roster. But somehow, some way, this guy by the name of Howie freaking Roseman decides to put J-Jaw on the roster. And then God comes down to J-Jaw and says, yo, J-Jaw, you're going to be on the 53-man roster. I believe in you. And then you know what happens? Howie Roseman goes ahead and says, yo, J-Jaw, we're putting you on the 53-man roster like God said. Like, really? Just for spacing? That's stupid.
Honestly, all I gotta say is this: he better prove to everyone. He better prove me, you, and everyone else who said he was garbage, who's a bust. He better prove us wrong. I want him to get either 800 or 1,000 yards. I want him to get 6 or 7 touchdowns. If he can't do that, then he's useless. He shouldn't be on this team.
He's
And if
not.
Fulgham plays better than him, I'm gonna be
He's
very
not
upset.
helping the team. Like, what is it? What in the world is J-Jaw gonna do? J-Jaw's not gonna do anything. J-Jaw's not gonna do anything for this team. He's not gonna have an 800-yard season. He's not gonna have a 1,000-yard season. He might have like 150, but that's it. And just like that, Sonic left. His internet might have went out. But it is what it is, man. Come on, people. I want your thoughts. Call into the show, man. I need your thoughts on the 53-man roster, baby. Come on. I want some more people in here. Anyway, Nines said, why not? Don't want another huge break. Yeah, why not come into the stream, my guy, even though it says 0 people are on. Sorry I couldn't be here for long. This was still really good, though. Hope you have a good stream. Appreciate you, Nightings. Appreciate you, my guy. Yeah, man, I mean, the 53-man roster, I mean, the Eagles have their ups, the Eagles have their downs, and at the end of the day, it's like, why must J-Jaw be on this roster? Sorry, my internet was out. Yeah, that's what I figured, Sonic. That's what I figured. Yeah, man, I mean, the Eagles have their ups, the Eagles have their downs. Special teams is pretty much locked in. Defense, they didn't do too bad on defense. I mean, Teron Jackson could have been off this list. I could have been fine with 4 defensive ends, 4 defensive tackles, but switching out Marlon Tuapalatu, I'm probably pronouncing his name wrong, and switching up with T.Y. McGill, even though McGill is on the COVID list right now. But once McGill gets off the COVID list, I feel like he's going to be on the 53-man roster, and Marlon Tuapalatu is going to be waived by the Eagles. So, at the end of the day, I feel like this wasn't a bad 53-man roster job by Howie Roseman, but there were a few negatives that I would disagree with at the end of the day. So we'll just have to see what happens, man. So if you can try to get internet and come back here, that'd be great, my guy. I want to hear some more thoughts from you. So hopefully your internet gets back to normal, my guy. yeah, man. I want some more thoughts in the chat, baby. Call into the show. The StreamYard link is pinned. Guys, go ahead and smash the like button down below and hit that subscribe button if you're new. Let's try to get 200 subs in the next few days, hopefully. We just need 6 more. 6 subs. That is not a lot, but I know we can do it. So go ahead, share this content out, have everyone subscribe, because I want to hit this 200 mark so I can celebrate with you guys with a live call-in, baby. Yeah, man, it says one person is in the stream, but person's not calling in. So that might be Sonic trying to get his internet back, but who knows, man. It is what it is sometimes. But I feel like Howie Roseman did an okay job with this. I mean, 3 running backs isn't going to be enough. You put J-Jaw on the roster. You have Jack Stoll on here because you cut Richard Rodgers. You did pretty good with the offensive line. You did good with the quarterbacks. Did good with the defensive ends apart from Teron Jackson. You did good with the defensive tackles, Howie, apart from Marlon Tuipulotu, who might honestly get waived some point before the season, because T.Y. Miguel's going to be on there for 10 to 14 days, depending how long the absence is going to be, which I think is it's either 10 to 14 days at the end of the day. But at the end of the day, I feel like you do need young talent, but I feel like Marlon Tuipulotu is not going to be the guy. So I would rather have T.Y. Miguel on the roster. He's pretty young, pretty experienced in the NFL, and for all linebackers, Howie did a pretty good job apart from Patrick Johnson. We don't know what we're going to see out of Patrick Johnson because he is, in fact, a seventh round pick. So at the end of the day, we just don't know what we're going to see from Patrick Johnson. But hopefully he'll get some snaps and put some impact for this team, baby. Cornerbacks, it wasn't really a surprise for all 5 of these guys. I mean, Slay and Nelson are locks. McPherson and Maddox are locks, even though McPherson was getting crushed in the preseason, and then Josiah Scott ended up making a pretty good impact. And then Elliott Sipos and Lovato are mainly our guys. So if I had to grade Howie's his roster prediction right now, he made, in my opinion, at least, I'm going to say, 6 mess ups. I'm going to say he messed up by 6. So for me grading for Howie, I'd give him a C plus on. I'd give him a C plus, maybe a B minus on putting this roster together. But hopefully things will turn out much better, as we hope to see much better from Howie Roseman. And hopefully we'll get some of these guys back and just get better talent on this roster. So we look pretty good. But Howie messed up at least like 6 things. Howie messed up at least 6 roster spots. I mean, Fulgham should have been on the roster. Richard Rodgers should have been on the roster. It should have just been 4 defensive ends, 6 linebackers. But that's it, in my opinion. And then, I mean, we should have had 1 more back, got J-Jaw out of here, kept Richard Rodgers, take out Teron Jackson, take out Marlon Tuipulotu. Once the season starts, or once T.Y. McGill comes back, I'm sure we'll be doing that, and then Patrick Johnson. So 6 mess ups for Howie, in my opinion. Might have been less, might have been more, but I feel like Howie is gonna make at least one change, and once T.Y. McGill gets off the list, he will be on the 53-man roster. So we'll see what happens with the 53-man roster by the time the season starts, and we'll see how it plays out going forward. Nobody's in here, unfortunately. So we had at least 2 people call in to the stream. Was expecting more, but it is what it is sometimes, for sure. Sometimes you just have to deal with it, man. Sometimes you just have to deal with it. I'm sure Sonic is trying to figure out how to get his internet back up so he can give the rest of his thoughts into the stream. Max Russell was in here. I don't know where he went. Yeah, I don't know where Max Russell went, man. It was like he just disappeared. Not into space, but it is what it is sometimes. And yeah, man, I felt like we had to get Matt Pryor out of here. I mean, Pryor didn't have a great career with the Philadelphia Eagles, and then we traded that, and then we had that 7th round pick for the 6th round pick that we basically gave to the Jags for Josiah Scott. So basically, we just got the 6th round pick back. So, like, what was the point in doing that trade? But the main point of that trade was just trying to get Matt Pryor out of here, just because we didn't need him on the roster again. I felt like Fulgham could have still on the roster. I felt like Hightower could have been on the roster. Craig James could have been on the roster to play special teams. Jacoby Stevens could have been on the roster. There were at least 5 or 6 guys who could have been on the roster, in my opinion. There could have been at least 5 or 6 guys that could have been on the roster as like switch outs to switch people out and in. Still nobody in here. What are the chances that someone's gonna come? It's gonna make the viewers come and rate on this stream, bro. Like, come on. But it's very quiet. No one's calling in the show, but sometimes you just gotta deal with things like this for a situation. Hopefully Sonic gets back in soon so he can finish speaking his thoughts. Yeah, man. I don't know much of what else to say with nobody in here. I pretty much gave my thoughts on what needed to happen. I pretty much gave my thoughts. And we had 2 callers into the stream. If no one comes in like the next 7 minutes or so, I might go ahead and end this stream already. I was expecting this to go much longer, but everyone is pretty busy. RB, I know he had a stream. DJ Eastwood and Mitch Kofsky are collabing. And a few of these other guys are just doing big things, man. They're just doing big things. Sometimes you just don't get what you want. But hopefully someone will show up. and give me their thoughts on what they think about the 53-man roster. I definitely expected this to go way longer, but not what you want, but it is what you get. Yeah, man, I feel pretty good about our 53-man roster right now. Hopefully, Howie will make some changes before the deadline happens to when we... I'm not sure if there is a deadline on when we need to stop claiming waivers and releasing players and all that. I feel like there isn't a deadline on that, but hopefully we'll do much better than what we did last season. So we'll just see what happens, man. Sometimes it just is what it is. But Tyree Jackson on IR just made it more likely now that Ertz is going to be on the roster for the start of the season, and Zach Ertz is on the 53-man roster. So he will be on for the start of the season. And probably by the time Tyree Jackson gets back, we might go ahead and release Zach Ertz. Who knows? Because we want to see something out of our young guys. Like Dallas Goedert, Jack Stoll. I wanted to see something out of Richard Rodgers, but turns out we don't get to see what he'll do. Probably until next season. And hopefully Tyree Jackson will just come back. Tyree Jackson is basically just a baby Gronk, in my opinion. Tyree Jackson's a big guy, not as big as Gronk, but he's not small either, folks. He is not small. Tyree Jackson is not a small kid. He is basically a baby Gronk. A baby Rob Gronkowski is how you describe Tyree Jackson. There's no question on how you describe this man. You describe him as a baby Gronk, and hopefully Tyree Jackson will be a beast once he comes back onto the 53-man roster. Yeah, man, if no one else comes in by around the 1 hour, 5 minute mark, I'm just going to end this stream. I feel pretty good about our 53-man roster. I mean, the quarterbacks are good. Running backs, we could have added one more. Receivers, we could have switched out J-Jaw for Fulgham, but God's speaking down on J-Jaw, saying, J-Jaw, you're going to make the 53-man roster, and apparently Howie is listening to God and saying, J-Jaw, you're going to make the 53-man roster, which was actually a pretty stupid move. Like, stop loving J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, man. Just stop loving this guy. Stop falling in love with him. Tight end should have kept Richard Rodgers. Put Stoll on the practice squad. Tyree Jackson goes to IR. O-line looks pretty solid. D-line looks pretty solid apart from Teron Jackson. We'll see what we see from him if he gets any snaps. Defensive tackles look pretty good apart from Marlon Tuipulotu with T.Y. McGill on the injury report. Linebackers look pretty solid apart from Patrick Johnson. I just wanted 6 linebackers because I felt like that's what we could have went ahead and went with. Cornerbacks are pretty solid. Safeties are pretty solid. And then special teams are obvious, but still pretty solid. And trading Matt Pryor was a pretty good move by Howie to end up making in order to just make sure we had 53 players by the start of the season. But we basically just got a 6th-round pick back at the end of the day. And some of these guys that got released or waived, they just ended up. And some of them should have made the 53-man roster, but not as good. Some players are not good as others. But I felt like Howie made a few mistakes. So hopefully Howie will fix them and get them ready for the start of the season or before a particular week in the season, which I have our Eagles probably at the ceiling of getting at least 10 wins this season, and the and and my average record would probably be around 8 wins. So 8-9 for my average, and then 10-7 for my ceiling. So yeah, man, didn't expect just 2 people to call in the stream. I really thought we were gonna see more, but since no one has called in for like the last few minutes, I'm gonna just end the stream here. Thank you guys for coming out to this very short stream. I wanted this to be like closer to 2 hours, but we're only getting 1 hour in because no one else just ended up calling into this stream. So at the end of the day, not what you want, but it is what you get. We are so close to the Philadelphia Eagles starting up this NFL season, and I just can't wait for my Eagles to play, man, because I really want to see these guys break out. I want to see Jalen Hurts throwing dimes to Devontae Smith, because I feel like Devontae Smith is going to have a breakout year. And that's pretty much it, man. Thank y'all for coming out to the stream. Have a good night. Be sure to like and subscribe. Let's try to hit 200 before the Eagles season starts. And as always, man, fly Eagles fly. Thank you all for coming into the stream, and talk to y'all next time, man. Peace.